Okay, the next one comes from WB5191, and he writes, he made a couple of comments against a couple of different videos, so I'm going to deal with both of them in the same hit. These Korgs are a nightmare to repair or to get into, still trying to figure out how to get the sticky switches. And the second comment he made was, how did we get into the T1? This was in response to two videos. One was refurbishment and replacement of the contact switches, and the other one was Korg T1, how to actually get into the unit, both in September 2017. So I'll answer the second one first, and then move on to the first one, if that makes sense. So in order to get into the Korg T1, if you imagine the Korg T1 keyboard to back unit, then if you look at the underside of the keyboard, roughly just over the center line towards the back, there is a line of 3 screws. There's one dead center, and there's one about 3 or 4 inches from the right hand and left hand ends, right? And all you have to do, and this is the daft thing, is undo those 3 screws, go back to the top of the unit, and the front will lift up. If it doesn't lift up, you've undone the wrong screws. It's quite that simple. But I have to be honest and say it took me a long time to figure that out, a lot longer than it should have done. And the second part of your question is around about the tac switches themselves. Well, unfortunately, if the tac switches are gone, they're gone. There's nothing you can do about them. You just need to desolder the tac switches and put new tac switches in. You can get the tac switches from quite a few places on the internet. There's quite a few places selling Korg T-series tac switches. In fact, I think the tac switches that are used in the Korg and in a lot of the Roland gear and some of the Yamaha gear are pretty much the same unit. So, you know, they're still around and there's still quite a market for them. But if you can get hold of those, and what I suggest you do, if you're going to take the thing to pieces, I would suggest you replace the lot in one hit because it's far easier. And the other thing I suggest you do is, obviously, you can watch my video. I do actually take the machine to pieces. But the other thing for you to do is, as you're taking the machine to pieces, take photographs at each stage. Now, that's what I did when I was taking mine to pieces. So it wasn't on camera, but actually to the side of the camera, I actually had photographs of how the next stage looked as I started putting the thing back together. So I knew what I was aiming for. Okay, it's the only thing I can do. Unfortunately, it's a long process. You have to desolder all the original tac switches, and then you have to solder in the new tac switches. And I did it over a few evenings, so that just sort of gives you an idea of the time scale involved in this. It's not a quick process. Now, this one seems to be a recurring theme, again regarding the Korg T1. From Lewis, please, I need the factory in disc, I think factory sound disc is what he's trying to say, help me. So what I've done is I've actually put a link against the video and against this comment to a site on the internet where you can get hold of the sysx files. Now, I make a couple of very important points about this. You are going to an internet site, okay? I have no control over that internet site, so you download at your own risk, and make sure when you do download, you properly virus check, okay? So I bought the factory disc. It was the best $10 I ever spent. I got it from somebody on eBay, and that was an easy thing for me to do because it's only going into the Korg T series, and you can't put a virus on the Korg T series. I don't think you can put a virus on the Korg T series. And the final one on this one, from the John Lennon Fanatic, writes, is this the latest firmware update to 3.1.2 for the Kronos as of December 18? I can't get my Yamaha FC4 damper pedal to sustain on my new Korg Kronos 2, even when into the polarity settings. So there's two questions here, and I'll answer them both. It's in response to a Sunday morning rant I did way back in February 2017. So first off, my understanding, and my Kronos is not on this version at the moment, okay, and it's not because there is a problem with it, it's just I haven't got round to upgrading the version of the Kronos. But I believe the latest version of the Kronos firmware or the operating system is 3.1.3, and the subsystem needs to be at 1.10 now. Okay, so there's two updates potentially there. In response to the second question, the problem with damper pedals, or pedals in general, is most pedals are quite universal. They will work on a wide range of keyboards. Excuse me. However, some of these pedals are targeted at a piece of hardware where the control voltages, because all effectively a damper pedal is either an on-off switch, i.e. switch the damper on, switch the damper off, or on some of the more sophisticated keyboards, that damper switch allows you to sort of slowly drop the pads on and off the strings as if you were using a mechanical device. Now, some of these, the control voltages that these things operate between, are not compatible with the Kronos. So it could be the Kronos is expecting a higher voltage or the Kronos is expecting a lower voltage. I don't know which way around it is, but that could be causing a problem. So because it's not sensing a big enough voltage drop, it's not working properly. The other thing is, especially in the ones that give you sort of half damp, is the impedance. So that's the electrical resistance that exists within the pedal, which the keyboard will then sense. Now, if that impedance range is not within the keyboard's impedance range, the pedal won't work properly. So it's not a simple case of my FC4 pedal won't work. It's possible that the FC4 was originally aimed at a Yamaha keyboard that has a slightly different control setup to the one you've got. So you may end up having to bite the bullet and go and buy the SH1.
So this is the point in the video where I turn around to you, my viewer, and say, if you enjoyed the content of this video, please give it a thumbs up. The way the Google and YouTube analytic engines work is that the more likes you get against a video, the more it gets promoted by YouTube and Google, and therefore more people with the similar interests to what you have and I have get to see this content. This channel is driven by my love of music technology. That's what it's called, the Music Tech Guy for. If you've got queries, want to ask questions about themes or issues I raise on this channel, please, please, please do. Put your comments into the comment section below the video, and I will try to address whatever issue it is you've raised or whatever question you've raised. If it's something to do with me making future videos in terms of how to do something on a particular piece of equipment I possess, please feel free to say that as well. I can't promise to make videos on all the requests I get, but I do have a jolly good go at making most of them. Around about here is the subscribe button. Again, to do with the YouTube and Google analytic process, the more subscribers the channel gets, the more the channel gets promoted, and the more people get to see the content that you have obviously just watched. If you want to see my latest video, it will be in one of these two boxes on this side of the screen. Also, there is a second box there, and that video will be chosen for you by YouTube based on your YouTube preferences. I look forward to the next time that we interact. And I do mean interact, because I always enjoy reading your comments back to me. But for now, bye-bye.